Hi, welcome to Middle Class Mindset. My name is Starsky Inspires. Today in this episode, we're going to give tips for anyone that is starting your job. You're going to want to hear this because when you get a job, most people are led by the feeling, and the feelings is cool, but you got to make sure that your head's straight so that you can maximize all the benefits of the job. So you would get more of the rewards and less of the complaints later on. You'll have more of the joys of working on a job versus the regrets, right? Okay, let's get into this episode. We're talking about the 7 tips, which I call them rules, and I switched from rules to tips because I didn't want you to feel like, I'm being too hard on you or whatever, which some of you, you do need a good kick, you need a little punch in the gut, but hey, we're just casually knowing each other, and I thank you for stopping by. I'm going to be here all the time for whenever you need me. I'll have this kind of information to help point you in the right direction. Okay, the 7 tips for anyone starting a job. The first tip is you got to go into the job choosing to be successful or at least above average. That sounds so corny when I say that. I know what you're thinking. Man, it is so corny. Everybody goes on a job and they want to be successful. Nobody gets a job and wants to be, a deadbeat on a job. But listen to what I'm saying. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence or anything like that. I'm just saying choosing to be successful on the job is more than that zest that you feel when you first get a job. When you first get a job, you're thinking that you're going to be the key player to really turn the company around. You're going to be the most exemplary, the most exemplary. You're going to be that person. But choosing to be successful is understanding that you coming on the job, you are the new fish. You are at the bottom of the barrel, right? So if you're at the bottom of the barrel, you got to go into that situation looking for certain things. Success when you're starting a job is not necessarily just based on your performance in the beginning. It's based upon certain dynamics that you need to grab hold of when you first get there so that your way up the ladder can be a little easier than if you're just trying to go and figure it out yourself. Let me give you an example. When you choose to be successful, when you're first in the interview, you want to ask as many questions as you possibly can on things that you don't understand or the benefits that you wonder that the company offers. You want to ask that in the beginning. You don't want to get in the interview and you're talking about all the things that you can do and how you're going to kill it and man, I'm finna smash, all of this hype. Slow down and talk to them and ask them about do they match 401k? What are their, how many vacation days do you get? How many sick days do you get? What kind of manager am I going under? What kind of supervisor I'm going? Because those things, many times for most people, you will not maximize a lot of things on the job if you don't ask questions in the beginning. And when I say at least become above average, see, when you first come on the job, being that you're the little fish, there are people already on the job that's performing at a very high level. Your job is that after you get out of the interview process, after you talk to HR, after you move past there, when you first get on the floor with everybody else, find the people that's doing it at a high level. You want to pinpoint the best examples of what it is to be successful on that particular job because these are going to be the people that's making the most money, that's getting the most benefits, that may be getting things that you aspire to have, right? You want to point those people out. You want to document right from the gate This person is doing this, and this. That is what I mean by choosing to be successful. Choosing to be successful is not like how everybody say, get on the job with a positive mindset and all. It's like, yeah, that's just basic. That's just basic stuff that you do. You want to have a good attitude because nobody don't want to walk around and every day on the job feels like a Monday or the day that you hate. It's like you don't want to feel that. Of course, you're gonna have a great attitude, but that is such a antiquated motivation. Success means that you go in looking for the things that's already on the job that is successful and you model those things, right? Are you tracking with me? You vibing with me? Okay. Number two, you want to take advantage of all the resources, all of them, of the best money practices on the job. You want to take advantage of all of them, every single one of them that you possibly can. Now, what does that mean? Let me give you the backstory on it. Let's delve a little deeper. I'm talking to people that I'm already assuming that you're already mature, that you're already ready, that you're already knowledgeable. So we're not gonna go past no childlike motivations that only talk about basic stuff. That's not really the stuff you're gonna use to really plow your way forward. When I'm talking about the best advantage of all resources in terms of money, look at what the company offers in terms of this. Okay, first you get your salary that you're going to make per year, and you break that down hourly and then weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. You look at that and you say, this is my starting place, right? Get a real picture of that. This is my starting place. All right. So I want to already set up some things to where even though this may not be enough to pay my bills, I want to structure this in a way that uh it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's paying whatever it can pay because you want to create a structure now. Now you create the structure first. You create the budget, you create the structure first on how you're going to pay your bills, even though the salary may not be adding up to be enough because statistically in a household there are normally two incomes. There's the husband works and the wife works. So but you're just thinking about what you're making, right? Okay, so once you set that structure up, then you look around, you say, okay, the company offers medical, dental, vision benefits, which if I had my own business, this particular benefit would cost me a whole lot of money to have these things, and it's costing me less money because I'm doing it with a company. How is that a good money resource? This is how you use this as a good money resource. You use this as simply as go and get uh your workups at the doctor, at the dentist, at the vision. You make sure if you need glasses while you're there, get your glasses. If you need dental work, go and get the dental work. If you need to go and get checked out with the doctor, which you should at least get once a year, go and get a preventative workup of your blood and different things like that. You want to get all of that while you're there because your anything that affects your health negatively will always affect the money that you need to grow. So you want to take advantage of that resource because that resource is actually saving you money, but people never think about that. You never think that going to the doctor, going to the dentist, going getting glasses, your eyes checked is actually saving your money. It's actually helping your success, even though it's not putting money directly into your bank. It's putting money into your health and your physical bank, which, uh, needless to say, without a body, there is no such thing as doing anything else. Once this body falls, there are no zombies working on your job, even though that that we can go a lot of directions towards that. But I ain't gonna tell any weird jokes right now. I got a lot of them, but Nevertheless, there's no zombies working on your job, working on my job. There's real people. You need your help. So you want to structure your income at home to target making sure that you're bringing down your overhead at home. You want to take advantage of all the health resources. Then you want to look at how much the company matches in terms of 401k and different things like that. And I can tell you what I do in terms of the 401k. So my company matches 6%. So in the pre-tax part, I do whatever the company matches, which is the 6%. But I also do a percentage of after tax money. I do both for the reason that I don't necessarily know where I'm going to be at a certain time in the future. And I want to be able to have both going so that whichever one benefits me more in terms of taxes, I want to make sure I have that already set in place. But when you're with a company, you many times companies will offer your ability to do pre-tax and also after tax. And if they offer that, look at into research, look at the benefits of maybe doing both, not just one. Most people will put all of their ducks into pre-tax things, which pre-tax, hey, I get it. I totally understand because I do the exact same thing. But when I understood the benefit of after tax, you have one thing that you're going to get your taxes once you reach 59 and a half, and you're going to be taxed then. And another one, you're going to be taxed immediately upon putting it in there. So when about time it's time for you to take it out, then there will be no taxes on that particular end in certain instances. So you want to see how it benefits you. But the point that I'm driving here is that you want to take advantage of all resources of best money practices. You want to look to see how the company divvies overtime. Do they have overtime year round all the time? Or is there a certain busy season that your company does overtime? If that be the case, if you can time pretty much when there's going to be the busy season at your company, then you know how you should work in order to get further ahead on the bills and the different things at home. Because if you bring it down the overhead at home while you're working overtime and you're paying off this and you're paying off that and you're stacking money over here in this account, if you use the company at the level that is possible to be used, then you can get the maximum best benefit. But you got to accept the company for what it is. If the company only offers at a certain level, just use that level to get you as far as you possibly can with that level until it's your time to maybe make another plan or move up in the company or however you're thinking. But you want to take advantage of best money practices. Number three, you want to create rituals, routines that keep you moving forward. You want to create rituals, routines that keep you moving forward. What do I mean? You want to prioritize your objectives for why you're working at that company. If you got to be up at a certain time, a certain ritual that most people do is you have your alarm set up, you have your clothes set out, you have your lunch set out, because you want to have those things. So those, even though we look at those things and we take them for granted and we see like, that's not nothing. It's like you are actually doing millionaire habits, but you don't know that you're doing millionaire habits. Millionaires do the exact same thing. They prepare their day in advance so that they can have the best start they possibly can. Just because you don't have millions, just because you're not that famous name, don't mean that you're not doing rich people stuff. We got to know in the working class that we have seeds of millionaire in you. When you realize you have it in you, it'll become easier to believe that it can actually happen to you. The problem with most of us, we downplay the stuff that we do like it's nothing, when it's like the fact of the matter is every millionaire throughout history, every single one of them, everyone came from the middle class, from the working class. That's where they started. Andrew Carnegie, that's where he started. Rockefeller, that's where he started. Any of them, that's where they started. They didn't show up one day with money, because in America, we didn't have any monarchs. We didn't have any kings. So there wasn't any royal family per se that people came from. They worked their way up to a certain point, and they just scaled it and maximized. But they started on the middle class. So you need to understand that the middle class, the working class, is where the next innovators, the next millionaires, the next big thing is going to come from. Mark Zuckerberg, where did he come from? He was in college, figuring it. He was in the working class when he started that. He was in the working class. Anyway, you create your rituals and your practices to keep you moving forward. The biggest thing that stops most middle class people in their tracks are the changes in your feelings about something. The changes in your feelings. When you first started the company, all of a sudden you're happy and you're joying, you're over the moon. And later on, when things are not kind of going your way, you may have gotten a write up, or there may have been tension between you and another peer. And all of a sudden, you don't like the job anymore. When you create rituals and routines and practices that help you move forward, it'll keep you grounded as to why you're there. Because sometimes you need to shut off your feelings and realize you didn't come to this job to make friends. You didn't work on this job because they are your family. You're working on this job for a win-win situation. I'm working hard so that the company can make money, and when the company makes money, they pay me. So if I get paid, then I take that money to my household, then I begin to build out the life that I want. You know what I'm saying? So it's like your feelings start shifting, but if you don't have rituals and practices set in place, you're going to be driven by your feelings, and you're going to find yourself wanting to quit a job before it's time. All right. Create those rituals that you do every single day, all the time, and you will start seeing the best way to set up your day. And you will even be able to set your day up for people that you work with that are not always pleasant to be around. But you can set up rituals and practices to be able to deal with that situation when you know it's coming, right? So you want to set up these things because you want to keep a forward progression. Now, forward progression doesn't just mean moving up the company ladder in the company that you're starting when you're starting a job. That means setting yourself up to be able to see what options that are around you. All right, fair enough. Okay. Number 4, sorry about my sinuses. Number 4, just making sure my mic is on. Number 4, we want to write down our 1-year plan for the company. Do you hear what I'm saying? You want to write down, what is your 1-year plan? What is your 1-year plan? From the day you're starting to 1 year later, what do you want to achieve in that particular time? Many times people will start a job, have no plan on what they want to achieve. They're just going to work. And as they're working, they're like, well, as I'm working, I'm just going to figure it out. It's like, no, man, it's too many things that fall through the cracks when you have that type of mindset. When you don't put on paper what you want out of that situation, then life tends to just give you the below minimums of what it's going to give you. You know, if you're not writing down in a year, I want to be making this, you know, life would just give you, let's say they give you a nickel raise, they give you a dime raise. And I've been on jobs where it was the case. That was actually the case. and people were rejoicing, oh my God, we make a dime more. I'm thinking, okay, you work a dime more, but they're not lowering the hours per day you're working. We're working 14 hours pretty much a day, 1 day off, and you're jumping for that amount. That let me know that these people are celebrating because they didn't write down their plan, their 1 year plan. They didn't write down. They're just hoping that it's going to work out. This is what working class people do. And so if you're starting your job, I don't want you to fall into that mindset of just hoping everything's going to work out. I want you to be deliberate and set up some things to where you're not guessing. You can see opportunity when it shows up, right? Okay, so write down the plan you want, your 1 year plan. While you at this company, in a year, you want to be where? Now, that doesn't mean that if I write it down, then in a year, the law of attraction is going to make me the supervisor of the company or going to make me this big manager. It's like, yeah, that may happen or they may not happen. You're writing it down because you're just stating what you want. That doesn't always mean that you're going to get every single thing that you want when you want it, or it's going to come in a way that how you think it should come. You never know. You're writing it down so you can have a definite train of thought on what you aspire to do while you're here. That's the way to get the maximum benefit from this particular company. Number 5, you want to write down your 5 year plan for what you desire overall. You want to write down a 5 year plan. This is all while you're starting the job. Now, this doesn't mean that you got to stay up all night and push the pen and try to answer every single thing that I'm saying. This is over time. While you're at a job, over time, you want to be able to, some of these things you're going to get right off. Right off. It's going to be simple. Simple. Boom. You get it. You understand. You're off and running. But when it comes to writing down a plan, it may take you some time to adapt to the culture of the company, to really get used to your peers and supervisors and parking spaces and just get into the routine of the company for you to be able to get your head wrapped around what you want in a year, and even more so what you want in 5 years in your overall life. One of my biggest mistakes, I can tell you, I'm just adjusting a little bit. One of my biggest mistakes in the companies that I've worked for, I've been working now probably over 30 years. And if I track back, it's even longer than that because I've had a job ever since I was 8 years old doing something. But I spent a lot of time full of ambition, full of zest, listening to a lot of motivations and a lot of things of people who had the life that I want. And people tend to give you bits and pieces of general stuff. They don't really tell you what the complete story of what they really did to get to where they're going. They just tell you some things maybe to encourage you or whatever, but that's not the whole story. The only way you're going to have to get the whole story is you're going to have to write down what you want. During the years that I've been working, I never had a plan. So whenever I worked for, one of the companies that I worked for was Federal Express. Federal Express was a really good company, at that particular time that I was working for that company. But I never thought about what I wanted out of FedEx. I was so happy to be working with this name brand company that I was happy with the fact that they provided uniforms and they provided shoes and different things. This was way back when. I think I was maybe 21, 22. But I was so excited about that I never thought, okay, what other benefits do FedEx have? And at that time, FedEx actually offered scholarship programs. They offered a number of things that I never took advantage of because I never even pinpointed what I wanted. And this happens to many working class people. You're working and you're working and you're working, and you don't even really know why. So when you're starting a job, I want you to start immediately getting your head wrapped around why you're doing it. And how you find out why, you start thinking about your 1 year plan and you think about your 5 year plan overall. In 5 years, if you're still with this company, let's take it on a personal note. All right. 5 years with this company, what things do you want to have paid off? Or 5 years with this company, do you want to have bought your first rental property? Do you want to have started a business outside the company? Do you want to have gone back to school? What do you desire in 5 years with this company? When you look back, you want to think, wow, I got this, and this out of this particular company. And it allows you to feel the joy of the rewards that you've gotten versus the pain of regret when you realize, like, man, I mean, what did I work there for all of those years? Uh, arguing with this person, this tension all the time, or whatever it was that was negative. Most people remember the pain of that negativity from a job than they did the rewards. Why? Because they never set out to find out how to make this job help them achieve some things that they desire. So write down your 5 year plans overall, not just a job, but at home. How do you want this job to partner with you? Because you're working for this job, and most people think that it's a one-sided thing. Now I know I'm saying a lot, but listen, slowly go through this video because I am dropping some serious nuggets. There's many people they want me to do like shorts, and I do a lot of shorts, and that's cool. But sometimes you need to sit down and hear something that can be the key that you need to start turning the ship around. But if you expect me to condense all of this into a 1 minute thing, it's like, no, that's not going to happen. But listen, I'm here for you. These videos are always going to be posted for you because I am after middle class, working class people from when you're starting at 16 or when you're close to retirement. Listen, I am shooting these messages out to you because what I'm looking for is the people that still have a lot left in the tank. And I'm trying to definitely catch them young because I'm trying to get young people to see that, listen, how we did it as old heads, how we did it, you don't have to do that in this particular generation. You don't have to do that. Getting from where you are to making a really, really good income is not as hard as it was when I was a kid or even when my dad was a kid. It wasn't hard. The barrier to entry is a little easier for you. So I want to catch them young and I want to catch them around my age or even older. Okay. So take time to listen to this because I'm dropping some jewels. And if you listen to my other videos, I'm dropping a lot because how you think about it when you go into a job knowing your worth, not arrogantly, but when you know your worth, when you have a plan, the job switches from being somebody who wants to hire me into this is the company that I'm partnering with. We're business partners. We're business partners. The company that I work for now, I am a Class A truck driver. I consider myself not to be an employee, but a partner with this company. I do this for the company, and the company in return gives me this benefit. That's partnership. When you see it as partnership, you will feel a different way about it because you understand that if I help you survive, I'm in turn really helping myself to survive. Right? Okay. But I ain't going to press that issue. I'm going to teach more on this. I'm always here for you. Number 6, you want to write down how you want to retire. Now, I know there's some people out there right now that's retirement is the furthest thing from your imagination. Retire what? I'm only this age. It's like, I understand, but Write down, how do you want to retire? What does retirement look like? What does retirement look like? Many people think, now watch this, this is very controversial. Many people think that the 401k is the answer to retirement. And I'm like, no, no, sir. No, ma'am. No, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. The 401k model is a way for you to save towards retirement. But at the same time, when you get to retirement, which this happened to different people who, when the market dropped and during COVID time, there were people who went to retirement who had a certain amount set up for them to retire through their 401k, lost a ton of money because that was their only play. That was it. They was thinking, I'm just going to store this money up in 401k, and then when it's my time to retire, I'm going to take this money, and that's going to be. But most people don't understand that the 401k does not keep up with inflation. It don't keep up with taxes. It don't keep up with world change. It don't keep up with that, man. You got to have more irons in the fire than just the 401k play. You got to think about, how do you want to retire? How do you want to retire? How how do you want it to look? Now, there's many scenarios that I can give you, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. I only want to have the discussion so that you can begin to think about it right now. Right now, as you're working that job, whether you like the job or you don't, or you're indifferent about it, I want you to think right now. If you could retire tomorrow, what would that look like? What would that look like for your family? What would that look like for your daily life? See, me, I've been working ever since I was 8 years old. Retirement, believe it or not, is one of the hardest things for people to do because we have an innate ability in us to work. There are people that's retiring, many of them. You'll go into a Walmart, excuse me. You'll go into a Walmart and they're the greeter at the Walmart. They're the greeter. It's like, wait a minute, you don't even have to work. Why are you there? Because we all have this innate ability. We have this desire to want to be productive, to want to contribute, to want to be a part of something that's bigger than us. We have that in us as human beings. So when you think about retirement, you really got to define it, because there are so many things out there that you'll find that people are desiring somebody else's version of retirement. They're desiring somebody else. When you find what your vision is, it's going to answer a whole lot of questions for your life. It's going to answer a ton of questions, and it's going to identify the authentic truth of what you want in life. All right, y'all vibing with me? Listen, we on the last one, and that's cool, but I enjoy talking and I enjoy teaching these kind of things and putting these kind of videos out here like this, because I am just so passionate about middle class people. Being a working class person, I'm just teaching the things that I think about all the time. I went from being completely homeless to now making six figures. And that process didn't just happen overnight. I had to change certain things as I began to progress up in my life, and at the same time I have kids, different things, and to go from being homeless to where I am now, my heart goes out to people who are struggling up to success, or who are confused about where their level of success is. I'm aiming for you, because the right conversation, the right information, the right motivation, the right wisdom will always guide you, pinpoint like a laser right there where you need to get to. So I'm trying to be that voice that cuts out a lot of that nonsense, that comparison nonsense. Oh, you got it's like, man, I hear motivations these days, and it's like these people seem like they don't have any respect that the people, if you survive up to now, you got what it takes. Period. If you still walking around, you still breathing right now, no matter what state you in, you have something in you to contribute to life. You have something. And so I respect that right out the gate. And I always try to acknowledge and never trample on that, because you got to know that you got something in you that the world needs, that nobody can give it but you. But hey, that's my rant. Let me dial back before I get too sensitive. Okay. The last one. What are your plans for unexpected changes on the job? What are your plans for the unexpected changes? Unexpected. When you're starting a job, you're seeing the job at a certain way. As you begin to get indoctrinated into the culture of the job, into the mission of the job, into the vision of the job, you get to know the people and all of these different things. You start getting into the flow of the job. You will begin to see different layers about the job that you didn't see when you first started getting hired. So, in saying that, if you were able to see some things below the surface that you didn't see when you first got hired, you got to let yourself think about, what about the unexpected things with a job? What about the unexpected things? There was a job that I worked for that I was excited about because in many of the companies that I work for, I make it now, but back then I never knew what it was like to make $1,000 a week, right, on a job. And this particular company was paying $1,000 a week. And so when I got hired with that company, I am like so overjoyed, because $1,000 a week for me at that particular time covered everything. It really put my household and my family in a awesome position, just making that a week. So I am like stoked, like, oh man, this job is just, man, I'm killing it. Oh my God. Needless to say, I would say 6 months after being hired, the company never told us that the reason why they were paying that amount was because they were so short staffed that they were working tons of overtime, and the tons of overtime allowed them to pay you that $1,000 a week. But once they staffed up, now you got enough people that $1,000 a week dropped down to half, to $500 a week, to $1,000 every 2 weeks. And that's not even including taxes. So in 6 months, the amount that I was expecting was slit in half, and then probably slit into another half when taxes came in and you take out health insurance and 401k, different things like that. I was so devastated because I did not expect for that to happen. I was thinking that this was the normal for this particular company, never knowing that it was because they were short staffed that the overtime allowed them to pay you this. But once they got staffed up, they cut it all in half. After that 6 months, there was absolutely no more overtime. I worked for that company 3 years. And in that 3 years, I struggled financially. So the way that I struggled was it was so, just deflating when it comes to everything. I felt so hopeless, so ashamed that I felt like I was tricked, right? I felt like I should have seen this coming, or they should have told me. No. You've got to go into the job situation thinking about, how do I plan for unexpected changes? What if I get up on this job, work for a while, this job gets bought out by some third party company, and that third party company, their benefits are worse than the company that I got hired with? Or what if I work for this company and all of a sudden the company realizes they're overstaffed and they start laying off? What if that happened? What if for some reason I did some gross error, which me personally, I have done this, I have experienced this. Everything that I'm telling you, I have experienced this. I've made a mistake, and I didn't think that the mistake was as worse as it was. And I come in the next day and I'm fired. It's like, wait a minute. All the plans that you have right here, all of a sudden, some unexpected happens, and it cancels every single thing that you have previously done. But you got to plan for this already. So the things that I've given you, these steps that I have given you, I've given it to you in a way that if you start these, go from one, go from two, go from three, just start these in order. Whenever there's something unexpected happens, you will already have a structure set up that when you go to the next job, you're just basically you're already set up for the next job. You're already positioned, for that next job. When you're planning for unexpected changes, you realize that, okay, if I'm working this job and we're having a good time on this job, it's a lot of overtime, they pay me good. When you think in your mind there could be some unexpected downfall of this job, you start putting money away just in case something happens, just in case COVID happens, just in case a downsizing happens, just in case a layoff happens, just in case you're fired or your wife is fired, or just in case you set yourself up to make sure you have some things set to the side to cover yourself until you find that next big opportunity. Right? I know. You wish there were more people that had conversations with you like this, where they talk to you like you got some sense. They talk to you as if two friends are just talking, because the motivation that's out there now, they boast about these big successes, and I get it, but that's only half of the picture. See, success has to sit on a real person. Success in any kind of way has to sit on a real person. What do I mean? Dude, success cannot sit on arrogance or ego, man. You can look at a lot of superstars right now that was bragging about how successful they was, and one unexpected thing happened to them. And you look at their life now. You was balling. You was doing your thing. One expected thing happened. You made a deal with these particular people right here, and they totally train wrecked your whole plan that you didn't even expect for them to do. Now you're scrambling to try to get your legs, when if you were already been making plans just in case something like that happened. Now you don't always know what's going to happen, but you plan for the possibility of certain things happening. You understand what I'm saying? So you may not know what brick is going to hit you, but you put some money to the side to pay for the hospital expense. All right? Okay. So, hey, listen, this is Middle Class Mindset. I know you got something out of this. Hey, listen, share this, like and subscribe. This is a longer video, but I'm going to start posting longer videos because I have a lot to say and I cannot try to condense it down anymore. Listen, I'm going to need you to fight to have a certain attention span. I'm going to need you to carve out some time so you and I can have this dialogue, because This is just what's in my heart. I'm gonna put it out there. If you get something from it, if you subscribe, cool. If you don't, hey, I hope you would in the future because I'm still gonna be here. My name is Starsky Inspires. Hey, this is for anyone starting a job. Hey, share this with them. And I believe this right here is going to put them on the right track. Hey, until next time, hey, I'll catch you later. Bye.